Sorry for interruptions, my viewers. I've just got some interruptions, but I'm sorry for that. And now I'm back to present to you and proceed with our communication. We had reached our last point, which stated users need to be assured that patients' data stored in the system is secure and protected from unauthorized access. Compliance with data security regulations and best practices is essential to maintain user trust. As you know, we have to also have trust in this. If it is a business, then everyone should trust his opponent. Like if it is a patient has just entered the hospital, for you to be able to ask all those questions, you have to be sure that you must be trusted for you to enable the patient to give you the exact information without getting confused or like lying to you. Then when we come to risks assessment, we have technical risks, data security, system reliability, data interoperability, data backup and recovery. We have data integration, then we have also the organizational risks, user training and awareness, access control, change management and compliance. Then we also have the limitations of your system. If it is the database that we are using in the hospital management, then we should have some limitations. As you know, nothing can be done perfectly, but we can try to overcome that. Let's see the limitations in this database system we are using. We are having data security concern, data entry errors, user interface challenges, cost and implementation challenges. All those are the limitations to our database systems we are supposed to be using. Then we have our design, the one I used to design my project, and here I used different entries to develop my logic design. As I'm going to present to you, we are going to have the list of entities. This is a summary of what we shall be looking at under the MySQL. That's the program I used to design my logical design. It included the tables, like the tables having installed or saved into my database, the one that is going to help me store the information. We have the list of entities whereby we had a table of patients, we had a table of healthcare providers, we had a table of appointment, medical record, diagnosis, prescription, medication. This is a summary of what I used to design my tables, like the entity, the attributes, the meaning of some of the attributes used in this project, and which data types that were used with their specific values, like the limitations to what values should you feed into that table or that column or that row. We can read through this. As you can see, I've just presented it to you. You can pass through, but this is my summary. I'll not go through everything because it shall take long, but I'll try presenting this such that you can go through it. Yes, then we can see our sign up page. As we have been talking about, this is a database system which is electronic. There is also a possibility of being uploaded online, and for some patients can even get appointments before reaching the hospital. For us to be very fast in servicing, if it is to begin with a login page, this is when the patient has been unable to reach the reception, but he wanted to sign up and get appointment such that he does not go through the registration forms immediately after reaching at the reception. Then this is a way of like using the shortcut and you're registered online. So for those who will be able to register, we shall have this sign up page where the user will be prompted to enter the full name, username. In case he has an email, he can also upload his email. Then you select the password you want to use. We shall use the sign up form for if it has been your first time for you to register to this, like to this management. But if you have ever used this page, then you will not use the sign up form, but instead we shall use the login form. This is when you already logged in, like you have been registered, that your credentials are included into the database system. So now you're just like retrieving. You had already logged in and you want to log in for the second time, or you have been using the account, so the system is aware that this person under this username with this password has been using this account. So we shall use the login page. That is for if you have been registered already and we have to log in with your username, and make sure the username you use it in the system, it's the username you're supposed to use as you log in. For any mistake, like you forget you use it Clinton and now it is like Linton, the database will not be able to recognize who is Linton, because already it knows this is supposed to be Clinton. So we have to keep recording our login credentials for us to be able to access the system again. This is done to prevent those people who may want to hack into the system and they want to get information while they are unauthorized. This is one way of this database being secure for it to be used and prevent our information securely. This is one of the database presentation. As I used MySQL, I had told you I used MySQL program for me to design this logical design, and this is what I managed to design. This should be presented using my PC, but since we're using the presentation, I'll have some screenshots for you. This is for, I wanted to view my database projects. This is our first table. Then we wanted to see what are the tables under the project I wanted to present to you. For my project, it was named medical records, and this is what I opened using the use medical records command. It presented to us the tables we have under medical records, and these are the ones I had presented to you before, where we have appointment, caretaker, diagnosis, medication, patients. We had to select the table of appointments and view what are the entities under that table. Under the appointment, we saw that we have the appointment ID, provider ID, treatment plan, and patient ID as shown. We continued to view what is under the caretaker, and that is what is previewed, like the name of the caretaker, the license, and the contacts in case they wanted to talk to that person who has been looking after the patient. We have the provider ID. As you know, I made the provider ID a primary key, where these are the numbers that uniquely identify our people. If it is a provider, you may find for provider names, we have two people with the same names and all have just come as providers. Then if the system, like the system analysts, wanted to retrieve and view some patients with their caretakers, we shall use the IDs to differentiate who was the patient caretaker to this person if they had the same names and you want to specify which is which. So we use our primary keys to uniquely identify those people. We come to the next design, which is also our screenshot, talking about the next table, which was the diagnosis table. This is what we're supposed to feed in, like what was that table supposed to be holding, or the entities supposed to be in that table. We also retrieved about medication. Also, medication had a medication ID, medication name, medication class. We came to the patients table. Also, we had to view what was stored under that table. We have the entities, each column with the entities. We have the gender, emails, address of the patients with their names, the phone contact in case they wanted to ask something and the patient has gone or is missing. So these are the information supposed to be fed into that table. Then we go to description of some queries and reports we have been using. We under the MySQL I used some of the commands of which we must be understanding for us to use the MySQL program. I used select for me to retrieve the information of healthcare provider, patient medications, diagnosis, and others. This is a sample of what I used to view my caretaker, and you can also view the caretaker, specifically the one you wanted with a specific name. Like this is where we added where first name equals to nobody. That means I wanted it to show me from the caretaker table where we have Norbert and view the information about Norbert only. Then it is very possible for us to delete, like we use the delete command to remove incorrect patients in case you had put something like a name of a person and you want to remove it, or remove and replace another name. This is where I used an example of delete from patients. Under patients, I wanted to delete a patient ID number 3. That means for everyone that will be under number 3, that the record that is starting from patient ID record number 3 will have to go using delete, will have to be removed, and all the details about that patient will be removed from the database system. We use the drop table. This affects the whole table, whereby you had created a table and you realize that later you no longer need that table, or you wanted to remove it. You can also use the drop table and you delete it. Then we say this deletes the existing tables, especially during database maintenance. Right? I gave you an example of dropping a table. For example, if I use a diagnosis and I wanted it to be removed from my database system, then I would use drop table command for me to remove that table. We also had the create table. This is another command which we use for us to be able to design those tables. So we begin by creating the table using that command of create table, give it a name, and then it is established. We had to talk about as establishes new tables for storing data such as patient records, medical history. Like I had to give you an example of create table medication. That's how I created my table of medication with its patient ID, entities, medication name as displayed. Then I went to the insert command, which is used for us to add information into the database system. If you had already done your database and you wanted to add in some information, like you had forgot, or you wanted to add in information, you just stopped and you want to now continue, we shall use the insert command, where we have to insert into some either a table or we insert in a new entity. Like I displayed to you, we have insert into patient values, where I added the name of Tuka with the following date. That means this information will be inserted into patient values. Patient values is a table name where we have we shall insert into patient. Patient is a table name, then values is a value we wanted to add into the system. That means this value, name Tuka, this date will be added into this table of patients. Then we had alter table. This alter table is used to make some changes into the table, and it affects the whole table, but specifically the field you had appointed or you had selected. We said it modifies the existing table structures, adding columns and removing them when needed. For example, I used an example of alter table appointments. This means the table of appointments will be somehow changed, and the statements made will be about the integer we had used. If it is appointment ID, then the ID, if initially I had used, for example, var character, and I say alter table appointment ID int, it means now it is going to use integers. We had the update system. The update command is used also to modify the existing records in any of the tables. For example, update patient set phone. If I had used some phone number which is incorrect, I can update it using the update command and set that phone number to this. Then for where patient ID, we are trying to specify if this is our phone number, to which person are we going to change. We are using the person's ID. If he is a patient, then we are using the patient ID this. So the person corresponding to this patient ID, his phone contact or her phone contact will be updated to this one. Yes, we go to the relationships where we had the unary, binary, ternary, or quaternary. As shown, we had the patient medical record, where a patient can have multiple medical records and medical record belongs to only one patient. I tried to represent to you the multiplicity as shown here. I have another interrelationship where patient healthcare provider is also another relationship presented to you. And then under this, a patient can be treated by multiple healthcare providers, and the healthcare provider can treat multiple patients. We also had a patient appointment relationship where we have a patient having multiple appointments, and an appointment is associated with only one patient. We also went ahead and had to design a comprehensive entity relationship diagram for our database, or for my project, but specifically for the database. I also presented to you, this is my patient ID, patient and gender, whereby all this table is able to interact with the appointment, patient ID, provider, also interact with the caretaker, provider ID, license. The same table of patient ID and gender can also interact with the medical record ID, patient ID. So this is the relationship we are having. We also saw that this table can be able to associate with this one, and we continue with the cycle as shown here. We had an executive summary of what we have been talking about, and we had the ER system. I'm sorry, this is supposed to be the ER system. We had the ER system aims to revolutionize healthcare by eliminating paper-based medical records and streamlining information management. Then our project focuses on implementing an efficient, secure, and user-friendly. You're going to forgive me for my mistake, but this is supposed to be ER system that enhances patient care, research, and administrative processes. It will provide a centralized repository for patient data accessible to authorized healthcare professionals. Then we had our bibliography database system, where we had a practical to design, implementation, and management by Connolly. We had articles and tutorials from YouTube used as a reference. We also have online resources like ODBMS, a website run by Professor Roberto Zicari. Yes, as I conclude my project presentation, the project provides appointment form, prescription details, and the new notifications of the available services and medication prescribed to patients, provide the medication forms, diagnosis and medical records of the patients. The software takes care of all requirements of an average hospital and is capable to provide easy and efficient storage of information related to patients that come up to the hospital. Yes, this was my project presentation about the database systems. I want to thank everyone who has been able to watch, and thank you for watching. Thank you for your good time. Have a nice day.